Often uh, you can always take yourself for an example, but you're never alone. And so radical whites were, in my experience, were often not very pleasant to be around. We didn't know how to have fun, even with each other, in the circles that I moved. And we thought that having fun was somehow the equivalent of slacking off on the work that needed to be done. So it was very hard to organize any other white people, because they said, you know, I don't want to go there and hear y'all beat up on me for not doing this or not doing that. So you had to learn how to have discussions that you can organize with. The great failing of a lot of our work is, whatever you call us, liberated whites or anti-racist whites, was that we can't organize outside our own circle. So we meet each other in different venues, but it's the same ones of us. So we have to be able to respect other white people, to organize with them, to not judge them, to be familiar with their music, to be familiar and be approving in many ways of how they live their lives, and not just a scold all the time, because it doesn't help build anything. And so that I see that a lot more now than I did at first, when there was less talk around this sort of thing, is that white people, you know, genuinely learning how to be together and to be in the movement and appreciate our own history. There have been a lot of anti-racist in histories that necessarily call themselves that, but they're not in the history books. So we grow up as white people only hearing about, you know, bad white people who did terrible things to others. But there have always been white people who spoke out against, whether it was enslavement or the massacre of the indigenous. There were always white people. There are white people in every photograph of the civil rights era, but they're never named. And you wonder, who is that? Who is that nun? Who is that? You know, who's that person in the back? If you look at that wonderful, iconic picture of Rosa Parks sitting in the Montgomery bus and refusing to give up her seat, there's a white man sitting right behind her, but he's invisible. You're never told who he was. Well, he actually was a photographer for Look magazine, who had an incredible career, as did others, photographing. So we need that history, and to keep our spirits up and to not flail ourselves. A lot of us, we just beat ourselves up all the time for what we haven't done. And while there's a point at which I guess that's necessary, it can't be that which describes our relationships. Most people just not going to respond to that.